When we say trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. The heart, I guess it's from Hebrew hangover, is seen as the motivation, the drive. Is your heart in this? In other words, is your purpose and your will there, or is it just not? There's no life in it. The life is in the heart, you see. It's the sort of thought of, isn't it, also as the physical centre of the pumping, and if the blood doesn't pump, then the whole body is starved of oxygen and nutrition, all that it needs, and the body presents then as dead quite quickly. But trust in the Lord with all mine heart is thy will and purpose. And I was thinking of it as separate, but the breath too is the breathing, the lungs. I mean, that's where the oxygen lies, and the heart moves the blood around so that the nourishment, the oxygen in this case, and the other nourishments from the stomach get there. That reminds me, of course, that the stomach is seen as the place of receiving nourishment from the world, the food, and the satisfaction of such. You've had a meal, you're satisfied. If it's a good meal. At that point, you don't have the will to get up and charge around. You just digest the meal. I've got this picture of a cow chewing the cud, just no, I'm not going anywhere. Sitting down, laying down, chewing the cud. So ideally, it's a state of contentment there, whereas the heart is a will to live. It's an action. So in a sense, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, with all your actions. I mean, they might be physical actions, but I'm also thinking of spiritual actions, thought, with all your thoughts, you see. Much of the heart's will doesn't come from, you don't consciously think, I must pump the blood around. Goodness, I haven't done it for ages, I must start doing it again. This is not the case, is it? The mind comes into operation with its automatic habits. And we say, there's the subconscious nervous system, if you like, which simply acts all the time, ideally, or you're in trouble, got a heart attack or something, And similarly with the breathing, we leave it to the automatic nervous system to operate the breathing and the heart appropriately, and indeed the digestion of the stomach, such as is happening without our conscious will and effort. Whereas we tend to think of doing something as an active will of the mind. But it's not. The mind can drone on for ages. If the heart doesn't respond, in other words, if there's no volition, no life put to it, no action follows. So you can, if you like, study the word all your life, but not actually live it. Not live it out in practice. So trust in the Lord with all thine heart is to say, do this in practice. Put your volition, your drive, your purpose, your will accordingly to trusting in your God being your Heavenly Dad. Lovingly all-powerful. Specifically loving you and, well, I take it to be probably loving all life. As the Lord, the giver of life. God of the living God. So I suppose I think Merlin Carruthers, in his book, Prison to Praise, got it right. You don't just thank him for the good, you actively trust. In other words, you thank him for what seems bad, but you trust to be good because you trust in him. And your actions and other thoughts follow accordingly. That's the ideal. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding, the imaginations of the mind, but in all thy ways acknowledge him. Acknowledge him as what? Dad, Heavenly Dad. And he shall direct thy paths. What more could you want than that he shows you the way, he opens opportunities for you and puts things before you that are the way. He shall direct thy paths. Wow. Well, the reference is Proverbs. Yeah, Old Testament. Yeah, I fancy that Marshall quoting that so much. Proverbs 3, 5 and 6. Verse 5 and verse 6 of chapter 3, Proverbs. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. That wording being, of course, King James Bible reference. Proverbs 3, 5 and 6.